Hello and welcome to the Homeschool Oklahoma podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Bartlett, and today we're going to be starting a series called The Summer of STEM, where we look at some of the homeschool groups in Oklahoma oriented around science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. In this episode, we caught up with the Tulsa group known as TOAST, the Oklahoma Association of Science and Technology, and talked to their homeschool robotics team. Welcome to Homeschool Oklahoma.
Glad to be here.
My name is Jonathan Bartlett, and today we're talking to what's the name of your club?
TOAST.
TOAST. All right. What does that stand for?
TOAST stands for the Oklahoma Association of Science and Technology.
So what do you all do?
Well, we do a lot of things. We do robots, we do public speaking, we do note-taking, we do all sorts of things. 3D printing, design, programming.
Yeah, so all the STEM type stuff.
STEM, correct.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what are you doing a competition right now?
We are, yeah. And in September 1st is the organization that we compete with. We'll announce a new game, and we'll design and build a robot within a few weeks to compete within that organization.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's the competition look like?
Typically, it's played on a 12 by 12 field. It's about 2.5 minutes long. There's 4 teams on the field. We'll divide up into alliances, a red and a blue alliance, and we'll pair up with another random team from Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And we'll play the game, and whoever gets the highest points will advance to the next level.
So you all build a robot from scratch for that?
We do.
All right. So what's the process for that?
So we'll analyze the rules of the game, right? We try to keep it as simple as possible. Some of the engineering protocols and processes we'll deploy, will entail some AutoCAD work, some iterations on the designs. We'll put in some vision software. We'll put in some pathing software such that the robot knows where it is on the field. Mm-hmm. We'll do some testing and analysis of some 3D prints. Some things will break, some things will work, and then we'll try to fix those.
How long do you have to put that together?
So typically we have about 2 months to assemble a bot, but we're going to iterate multiple times through the season, and the season culminates at a world championship in April, and we'll be probably iterating through April.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a lot of different software and technology and things. So you're doing this with what age students?
So they start at 12 years old and then go all the way through high school.
Nice. And primarily homeschool students in your
Our
group?
organization is primarily homeschool, if not entirely homeschooled. Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So how does somebody get started with that? If somebody says they come in I've never done path software, I've never done AutoCAD, I've never done any of this. How do you get started in that?
What I like to do is analyze the kids individually and find out what their interests are. Mm-hmm. If they're creative and they like to draw, they'll typically gravitate towards the CAD software.
Okay.
If they're very analytical, methodical, maybe enjoy the math a little bit more so, maybe that's a programming mind. Oftentimes the structural side kind of comes with wanting to break things and wanting to analyze how things failed and try to fix them, right? That's the mechanical build side of the house. So depending upon what the kids are interested, I'll kind of push them in the direction and see what comes out.
Awesome. So what kind of time commitment is that?
So what I like to do is at least one day a week from 5 to 9, the team will get together. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about ideas. We'll share some options. We'll kind of share some processes. And then they'll take it home. They'll marinate in some ideas. Maybe they'll come back with the team. Maybe they'll even have conversations on their own with sub-teams. So if they're on the design team will discuss that. If they're on the build team will analyze failures and try to solve problems. But on Discord, they'll share some of that information with each sub-team.
Oh, cool.
So time commitment kind of varies, and it's as much or as little as they want to be involved.
Awesome. So how many students do you have returning from last season?
Oh, wow. So 3 teams, I think we're up to about 37 or so total students now.
Wow, yeah. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Cool. So this evening you just finished a talk on what's coming for the next season. So you all don't actually know what the actual object is going to be yet.
Not yet. Yeah, we won't know until the 12th of September.
Okay. And so what do you do between now and then?
So between now and then, we know there are certain parts of the robot that we're going to have. We know that every robot has a drivetrain. So we'll work on designing some drivetrains. robots. We know, based on some of the videos that we've seen, that there needs to be an intake. There's going to be these pollen 3-inch round wiffle balls that we need to intake from the floor. So we'll practice building some of those skills.
Okay.
There are some assumptions that we can make, and part of that assumption might lead us into chasing a skill such as linear slides for extension. So if we need to take the pollen from the floor, intake it into the robot, raise it into the air, and put it in a scoring position, then maybe we also work on some linear slide developments. So we build base skills that could apply to the game when it's released in September.
Awesome. So what was last year like?
Last year was a shooting game. Actually,
Okay.
It was a lot of fun, very unique. We don't normally have shooting games. Last year also presented an opportunity for us to gain some defensive skills. Open field, bots are fighting and pushing and elbowing. We don't normally get that aggressive. Normally they frown upon that. But the last season was fun with the defense and fun with the shooting.
Awesome. So do you have any students here who were with you last season?
You know, I've got several.
Okay.
Actually, I've got Logan here. He's kind of a programmer. I think he might be able to answer some programming type questions.
All right. So Logan, so what was your role in the team last year?
Last year, I was learning some of the programming aspects of the competition.
Awesome. Had you ever done programming before?
Not really before I came here. I was somewhat interested in it, but never really got into it.
Gotcha. So how was the process of learning that?
So far, it's been pretty good. This year, I'm going to be the lead programmer,
Cool.
and I'm going to hope that goes well.
That's awesome. So how did your bot do last year?
Did pretty well. There were definitely some things we could improve on, and we're learning from that this year.
What was your favorite thing on the bot last year?
I really liked the gecko wheels on it and how we were utilizing them for our shooter.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
So gecko wheels are basically, they're kind of squishy, rubbery wheels that have little nubs on them that can pick up the artifacts,
Ah, cool.
which are I think they were 5-inch wiffle balls last year.
Very cool. So how does your work interface with other people's work?
After the bot has been designed and built, I will help program it and get it to move whenever we use the controller. So when we push the thumbstick one direction, it'll go that direction.
Very cool. Cool. So who else is here from your team last year?
Almost everyone is
All right.
here from last year. There are 2 new people, and whenever they want to speak, I'll let them introduce themselves.
All right.
Hello, my name is Brian. I was the lead builder last year for our team, and I'm going to be returning to that position this year.
So what does lead builder do?
A lot of building, so unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
It's really a lot of conversating with the design team to come up with an effective design for the game, depending on what the requirements are. And then it's also a lot of keeping stuff organized because it gets very easy to lose parts and like different assemblies in the clutter of our building room.
I once took apart my lawnmower to wash some parts of it, and it never came back together.
Yeah. It's very easy to take something off and then look back at it a couple minutes later and notice that 4 screws are missing, and somebody has to find them. That falls on me quite often.
Excellent. So what sort of so how does building differ from designing?
Designing specifically for our team is a lot of CAD work. So designing parts and then 3D printing them to put on the robot. Desmond, he's our lead designer. He's not here tonight, but he does a lot of 3D modeling and a lot of printing. And then he gives me the pieces and I assemble them on either the drivetrain or other systems.
What sort of things can go wrong?
A lot can go wrong. Just, I think 2 years ago, one of our designers didn't do the math properly. So we had a system that was used to pick up our robot, like off the ground. But the motors that were put on by the builders were the ones that they were told to, but they weren't strong enough to pick up the robot. So it ended up just not really working, and we would have had to disassemble a lot of the robot to be able to fix it. So it's very important to keep the conversation going between the two teams, or you're bound to mess something up.
Gotcha. So what was your favorite thing about last year?
Ooh. This is going to sound a little silly, but we had a very modular robot last year, and we could disassemble almost all of it in like 15 to 20 minutes. So we ended up doing that quite a few times to make iterations on how the bot worked. And it may sound a little tedious, but I had a lot of fun figuring out how to disassemble and reassemble it as fast as possible.
Awesome. Very cool.
Now, the one other part of our work is public speaking and stuff, and I think my teammate here, Ethan, will be able to answer some questions about that.
Yeah. So Ethan, what do you do on the team?
Yeah, so last year I was the portfolio captain.
Okay. What's that do?
Yes, so in our competition through first, there are two main parts to our season. We have competition on field, and then we have what we like to call a judging scenario. So with our programming and our building and our design, we are all working towards our goal of being highly competitive on the field. With my role in the portfolio, I work on our judging scenario. So how that works is we have a 5-minute speech that we give to the judges. So there's a panel of 2 or 3 judges that sit in a room, and our whole team comes up and we give a speech about what we did this season on our bot, our programming, our design, everything about it. And we also talk about outreach that we did. If we talked to other teams, if we reached out to the community around us and told them about our program and about First. And so we talk about everything we did throughout the entire season, and we have a 5-minute segment to do that. Afterwards, the judges will have 10 minutes to ask us questions about our speech or about our robot. And so oftentimes we will have our robot sitting on a table, and they can look at it and they can ask questions about parts of it, or they can ask questions about our outreach or programming or design or anything they want to ask about.
What's the most outlandish question you've gotten?
Ooh, that's a very hard question. I don't even know. There was questions last year about a lifting mechanism that we had, and we had not completed it at the time. So it was interesting to try to answer that in a way that favored our team, but while also saying that it's not actually finished. So that was a little bit of a dance that we had to do.
Right.
And our mentor, he instilled a skill upon us called the soft shoe shuffle. It's basically answering a question without necessarily answering the question.
That'll come in helpful later in life.
Yes. So our mentor,
I think every startup ever has had to do that.
Yes. Our mentor, he uses a lot of these situations through our robotics to give us practical skills that we will use later in life. And a lot of that comes from this public speaking segment. So yeah.
Gotcha. So what interested you in robotics to begin with?
To begin with, my brother and I went to a block party that was hosted by this team, and we saw all of the cool stuff. They had a display of the game that was going on that year, and that really interested me because I always liked the idea of robotics. However, it seemed so out of reach that I could actually build a robot that big that actually functions and do stuff. And so it seemed out of reach for me. So I saw this as a great opportunity to actually experience it for myself. So I joined that year with my brother. It was his senior year, so it was his only year to do it. But that was my, I think, 8th grade. 8th grade I joined. So 5 years ago now, since I've been here. And since then, I've learned there's a lot more to robotics than just building a cool robot and watching it perform. And I've learned to love the public speaking portion of it and the abilities and skills that it gives me that I can use later in life.
Oh, that's awesome.
So there is another part of our game that we like to stress a lot. because once you have a bot that's built and programmed, you need to know what to do with the bot. And so the person who decides that is our strategy team captain, whose name is also Ethan.
Awesome.
Yes, so like Ethan said, my name is Ethan. I am the strategy lead here and drive captain. So during competition, we have our drivers, and I am with them the whole match, watching other robots, watching the field, and making strategic decisions during the match. So what I really liked about last year was that it placed more emphasis on strategic decisions, especially regarding defense. Like 2 seasons ago, there wasn't that much defense you could play. It was more stay on your side of the field and they'll stay on their side of the field.
Right.
However, this season it's a wide open field. Bots can go anywhere they want, almost. And it makes strategy a lot more important. So that's what makes my job important. Now, what's even more important in strategy is how to complement your partners. Because we're in alliances, we're partners with another team with a totally different robot. So in order to find out how to maximize their potential while also maximizing theirs, we use scouting, which my friend Carson here can tell us more about.
Yeah, as he said, I was actually the captain for scouting last year. And as our mentor said, we are always paired with other teams. There's somewhere between 12 to even about 40 teams around every competition. A lot of my job was to organize, and even myself, I was talking to these teams, I was watching them play, and I was writing down what they did and what they could do. And I would work closely with strategy and kind of tell him and tell that team what they could do so we can have a valid strategy of both working with them and working against them.
So what sort of things do you pick up on when you're watching other teams?
A lot of things we look at are like how well they can do in autonomous. Some robots
what's autonomous?
are.
Why don't you tell us what autonomous is?
Autonomous is whenever, like the first part of this game, we have a part where the robot works completely uncontrolled and it's pre-programmed every match.
Cool.
So one thing for scouting that we look at is whether when they program their autonomous, they have a crazy autonomous. Like there were a few that we saw, they just kept going and kept scoring over and over again. Or whether they were kind of like us where they could score a few, not too many. But also in the second portion when it's driver controlled, we were looking at how fast the robot was, how many times it could score, and how many it could hold, and things such as that.
Cool. So what team did you find most formidable when you were doing your scouting?
There were quite a few formidable teams, but one that we found was particularly great at what they did. It was a team called Leviathan, and one thing that made them so powerful was their autonomous. They just scored so many points. It was hard to keep up with even in the driver controlled. And then while it was driver controlled, they still scored quite a bit.
Gotcha. Very cool. So if someone wants to get involved, how does someone get involved with the team?
Yeah, they can reach out on our website, toastgeeks.org.
Toast Geeks?
Toastgeeks.org.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's contact information there. They can reach out to me personally, text message, phone calls, emails, either one. And they can always stop by the shop here and visit us at the Toaster.
Awesome. And so we're at 101st and 145th?
Southwest corner of 101st and Elm.
Excellent.
And Broken Arrow.
Awesome. Well, it's great to meet you and great to meet all of you.
Ditto. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for listening to the Homeschool Oklahoma podcast. Homeschool Oklahoma is an organization dedicated to promoting, protecting, encouraging, and equipping homeschooling families across the state. Please sign up for our newsletter at hsok.org. If you'd like to further help our cause of maintaining homeschooling freedoms in Oklahoma, we hope that you will consider joining with a paid membership as well. Thank you for listening.